Everybody, and welcome to the third edition of Ziua Chitarelor. Mulțumesc. Thank you. I try to tell. Bun venit la a treia ediție a festivalului Ziua Chitarelor. I'm improving my Romanian, slower but sure. So we have a great 3 sets program. We have master classes. We have a beautiful guitar contest with 8 guitar warriors. We have concerts, then, and let me a big thank for now to Primar Sorin Oprescu, and of course from the Italian, well placed in Romania, Corrados Gandurra. That's great. I'm Guglielmo Malusardi, and I'm very happy to be here for the third time on stage introducing these fantastic musicians. For this year we have a little surprise. We are introducing the musician with a box fighting situation. Are you ready, Chupi? Do your job. 180 pounds, wearing jeans and white t-shirt, with a Benedetto guitar in his hands, flew all the way from Los Angeles, keeping Sweden in his heart is jazz, but with rock attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andreas Oberg.
Good morning. How are you? It's great to be back in Romania. It's my second time. My first time was in April, but I didn't have the chance to play in Bucharest, and I played in Iași, another city. And so it's great to be here, and I'm so happy to see this many people this early in the morning. Did you get any sleep tonight? You've been waiting outside? All right, so let's do like this. I'm gonna play something, and then let's do a question and answer thing. So any questions you might have, just shoot afterwards and I'll try to answer, and we'll have a nice dialogue. So let me start right now. you so much. That was a little solo piece, a song by Django Reinhardt called Nuage that I did my own version on. So, if we have any questions, let's start. Don't be shy. Anyone?
Here,
Yeah.
what kind of scale groupings did you use, or scale sequences?
What kind of?
Scale sequences.
Well, my playing is kind of a little bit of a mix of some theory, and also a lot of ear training. And like, I will show you a little bit later, but some of the how I practice. But I would say I use some scales, of course, different modes, different feels, and arpeggios, and a lot of like chromatic passing tones, and a lot of like chromatic substitutions and ideas. But for instance, being able to use chromatic passing tones is really what makes it sound like jazz. Because if I have like a G major chord and a G major scale, and I go just improvising around that scale, but if I start adding chromatic passing tones, and so on, that way it makes it sound more jazz, and I'm trying to incorporate that within my own language. So basically, yeah. But there's so many. I mean, for each chord, there are many different possibilities. So I can't say it's this one scale I'm using. You know, I mean, there's so many. But each scale has a different sound and different feel, and I try to like hear the feel and sound of each scale, and then actually feeling it too. So when I'm playing, I don't really have to think about now I'm going to use this scale. I hear different sounds, and I choose the sounds that I like. Theory is just about finding a name for each sound, so you can like categorize it, or you can explain to others what you're playing. Anything else?
Can you tell us more about this kind of vibrato you do with the whole neck?
The vibrato.
Yeah.
I mean, can I do like this? Yeah, actually, I have on this guitar I have like 12 a set of like I think it's round ones for this one. But when I play a thicker jazz guitar, a full size one, I'm using a flat mount 013, and those are really heavy strings, but with a great sound. But on this guitar, it works better to be able to do this kind of effect, because you can get a nice vibrato. You can even do like a chord. Let's do it like so what I'm doing is slowly like pressing here against the guitar and then moving to get that kind of effect. And that works fine when you have a chord that's kind of dissonant, like you can get like a really cool effect doing that. Instead of just playing it straight away. But if you do. So as you can see, I'm not using any pedal effects or something, so I try to do as much effects as I can possibly do just with the guitar, instead of using all these pedals and stuff. I do it sometimes, but basically I like just the guitar as an instrument, and I try to do as much as possible with just the basic setup. Is that an answer to your question? Go ahead. Anything else? Yeah?
Who inspired you to play?
Sorry?
Who inspired you to play?
Which guitar?
Yeah.
It's a Benedetto, and it's purple Benedetto. It's my own model. I have two different ones. One is a Manhattan. It's also purple or dark plum. It's a thick one, a larger size. Like it very much. This is more my traveling guitar, because it's I traveled with this once and it's broke, so it's already like fixed. So it's broken and fixed. So I can check this in on the belt, and I don't have to be really that careful with it. The other one is so expensive, so I only keep it at home, and I bring it to recording sessions and when I have really really big gigs and stuff. But this guitar is great. I love it, and it sounds great just acoustically too. So when I practice at home, I'm rarely plugged in. So I love a guitar when it sounds great, just acoustically, without amplification. And then it should sound good with amplification too. It's got Benedetto microphones that Seymour Duncan is making for Benedetto, and the strings that I'm using are Labellas from an old American Italian company based in New Jersey. Maybe I should talk a little bit on. Yeah, you have a question? Yeah. I picked up the guitar when I was 7 or 8. Before that, I just tried to play. I liked the guitar as a visual instrument, so I used a piece of wood and I was banging, and then my parents thought, well, we might buy you a real guitar. It looks like I want to play it. So when I was 7, I think I got a tennis racket and a guitar as a gift, for my birthday. And I liked the guitars. I took a lesson once a week, but actually I was more into tennis. I liked tennis. I was one of the best junior players in Sweden. So I didn't care too much about the guitar until I was 13 and 14, something like that. I got a teacher who played some music that I really liked, that I never heard before, and that music was kind of fusion music from that time, early 90s, from Los Angeles, Lee Rittenauer, Scott Henderson, those guys, Frank Cavalli, and I liked it very much, so I thought maybe this is something I should do, because I really liked the way that they played and the way they improvised, that the solos were different. And then when I was 16 years old, I applied for a music, in Stockholm we call it the Högstadium, it's like a high school. And it's a high school for young teenagers interested in music from all over Sweden. And then I had another teacher, and he introduced me to some of my guitar heroes that I still have now, like George Benson and Wes Montgomery, Django Reinhardt, Joe Pass. And then I found out that there was so much great jazz from the 50s, 60s, even 30s, 40s with Django. So then I really, started to practice and started doing gigs, playing with other kids the same age as myself. And then when I was 18, I continued my studies at the Royal Academy of Music in Stockholm. And since then I've been playing professionally, touring all over. I've been to 40 countries or something, so and visited all continents. So and these days I'm sharing my time between Sweden, that's still my home in a way, and the US, where I have my record label and manager. And I also have a business with a couple of friends of mine and business partners called Andreas Guitar Universe, where I teach guitar online. So actually you can check out that site if you're online, if you're interested in what I'm doing, because the concept is that the following, that you can join the site, you can check out all my videos. I have really basic stuff like pop, rock, chords, blues, then heading into jazz, more advanced jazz, the style of Django Reinhardt, that stuff. And then you can upload your own videos with a webcam when you're playing, and you send it to the site, and you can get feedback from me. So in a way, it's like a private lesson, but everyone can watch it. So it's a pretty cool concept. So I'm going to San Francisco and all the time. Even though I'm based in Los Angeles, I go a lot to San Francisco and record new videos and for the site and stuff. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. Question? Yeah.
How much time do you practice? And what do you practice?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's what I was going to start talking about. I practice these days. When I was younger, I practiced more. I had more time each day with the guitar. Now I have traveling to do, meetings. I'm writing a lot of music, sessions and stuff, recordings, and I try to have a life without outside of the music, meet friends and hang out and socialize and stuff. So I don't have that much time anymore. But I built up a clean and relaxed technique that I can always rely on. So what I'm practicing these days is actually expanding my vocabulary, and I'm singing a lot, every day. I'm singing over chord progressions and over changes and over songs, sometimes with the guitar, sometimes without. And these days I would say I do mainly like singing without any guitar. And that's such a great exercise because then you hear everything. Because even when I do this fast stuff, I can actually sing it, you know, it's stuff that I hear in my head and I'm just transmitting it from here to here. Instead of just learning like fingerings that I like muscle memory. I try to improvise and I try to, instead of learning, of course you have to learn the basic shapes first, like to be able to know the notes, but my advice is to try to break away from that too, and practice, why not practice a scale on one string? Like this. Go between strings, and then after a while, you can start being between strings without having really these positions that will limit you. So I can start the phrase down here and end. I can start up here and end here, you know, because I hear the notes and I have a feeling for where they are on the guitar, and I can, you know, basically, aside from these positions that are good to know as well. But I noticed that some players, especially in jazz, they get stuck in these positions and fingerings. They move the fingers they're used to instead of like really trying to follow what you hear, because that might be something completely different. So, for instance, I would practice, if we take a song, like a basic standard that most of you would know, Autumn Leaves, you know what song that is? You all heard the song? Okay, good. I just wanted to pick something that you're familiar with. So, if I would practice Autumn Leaves, I would like try to outline, play a solo, create an improvised melody that would outline the changes of the song. So you can actually, if someone would walk in here in this room, they would be able to tell you're playing Autumn Leaves without hearing the melody, without hearing the chords, without hearing the bass line. Just from the solo line. And this is something that good classical music has in common with good jazz. That just from the melody line you can actually you can hear the whole thing. Like if you close your eyes, the melody line outlines the changes of the song. And Charlie Parker, for instance, he was great at this. When you hear his solo lines, they somehow go through the changes, outlining them. So, I would just play a little bit now, improvising. First just playing, improvising over Autumn Leaves. Could you hear it was Autumn Leaves? Could you hear the changes? I don't have the applause. I'm just making sure that you follow. The next step would be to sing along. That's step number 2. Step number 2 would be to sing just on top of the chords. Then step 4 would be to remove the chords. And so on. So this is really the way I'm practicing every day, like singing the lines, actually making sure that I know the song, I hear the changes. And then the next question would be, how do you get there? How do you start? How do you build up the language? Of course, it's good to know the scales, to be able to start with the arpeggios, triads, then expand it to the full arpeggios, and so on. And then learn the scales. But this won't make it sound jazz. The key to make it sound jazz is to find the guide tones and the chromatic passing tones within the progression. So a really good exercise is to play the chord and then change the top note for each. If we have C minor, we start with the F on top. For instance, the 11th. And we start the song. For the next chord, F7. We can choose. Do we want to stay here? Yeah, we can stay. F still works, it's the root. But we can move it chromatically half a step. This is the F13, flat 9. But the important note is the top note, the flat 9. And that will resolve, that will create tension over the dominant and resolve into this. The G, the 6th, or the 13th of the B flat. So, and continue the same way. So. Then you can turn around. Go this direction. So once you know that and hear those small chromatic changes between each chord, you can start playing melodies around it. Longer lines. And then you can start like playing the really fast stuff once you start hearing it. So start basic, trying to connect the chords. way that this works. I can also improvise in a different style. Now I was doing like jazz, outlining the changes. I can do it in a classical way. Then. And so on. And I can do it in like a... I can do it in like the more kind of Django Reinhardt, gypsy flavored style. And so on. That's just a different language. It's like I speak Swedish, I speak English, you know, a little bit of German. And this way I also know many different languages on the guitar. Some words are in common, but it's put together differently. So, but the idea is the same. Every time I play something, I can sing it, and I'm trying to outline these changes so you can hear. Because right now, even though I play classical, I played bebop, I played some gypsy, you could hear it's Autumn Leaves still, right? Could you? Yeah. Let's do the opposite way. If any of you name a jazz song, a standard, something that I might know, I will try to do the same thing, outline it.
Stella by Starlight.
Stella by Starlight, all right. So if I would practice Stella by Starlight, I would do the same way. See if you recognize the song now. This will be interesting. So the idea is the same, working this way and singing. But of course you have to start slowly. and so on. So I would really recommend this way of practicing. I'm not like a singer. I never sing like lead stuff live, but it's such a great way of exercising. Does anyone practice this way or something similar? No? All right. Maybe you got some new ideas now to work on. Actually, you don't have to sing loud. You can just hum like. It's not about always doing a scat so other people hear that you're singing. It's just to connect what you have here in your head to your fingers. And the difference is another thing. There's another difference. If you play like this, you sometimes might forget how to breathe. You might just try to play fast enough and fill all the gaps with like notes. But when you sing, you actually have to stop and breathe. Because you can't sing forever. You have to breathe. So that means you have to do pausations and find space within the music. So I might play differently. If I just play, compared to if I sing, it might sound a bit different because I have to breathe in between and so on. So really, that's a great way of practicing that I would really recommend. Any other questions? I have never played, I've never been a member of a band. Yeah, when I was a kid when we played. Like, then I was a member of a band. I don't even recall what we called ourselves. But since then I've been focusing on my own career as a soloist. But I've also been part of touring bands at times, you know. 2 years ago I had the pleasure of doing like performances in Italy, you know, on TV with Eros Ramazzotti, you know. And then I was part of the band. I was hired as the guitar player, you know, playing his music. And I've done a lot of sessions. Lately I did a recording session for like Ricky Martin's new album. I played nylon string and stuff. So I love all kinds of music. Jazz to me is not a genre. Jazz is an attitude. It means that I improvise. I'm an improviser. I'm a guitarist and an improviser. But I might just as well, sometimes if I like it, I can play house music, I can play pop, rock, I can play, you know, anything. I like all kinds of music. The important thing for me is that I get to express what I hear and what I have inside and improvise. So I'm not a perfectionist. I rather play small mistakes here and there and create something new every time. Because if I go on stage and play the same solo, I would get bored after one time. Because then I already know it, I already heard it. I want to challenge myself. So every time I go up on the stage, I want to try to play differently, play something new. But of course, I've also been inspired by my heroes. My main guitar hero is still George Benson. He's a great singer, great guitarist, a lot of blues, feeling, technique, swing. Yeah, he's got the whole package. Yeah. Any other question, or should I play something else? Let's play something. I've been talking too much. Tuning. That's the most difficult thing with playing guitar. Tuning. I'm gonna play a song that you all know. It was made by a Swedish group called ABBA. Did you ever hear of that band? Alright, this is my own version. I recorded it on an album. I have it for sale here afterwards. A few copies of this album. It's a guitar trio album with a flamenco player and a Brazilian style guitar player. And I also have my latest solo album, Six String Evolution, with John Patitucci and a couple of great American musicians. But this one is from this guitar trio record. The winner takes it all. As you may have noticed, I play with my thumb here in the style of Wes Montgomery and George Benson. Actually, because I love that sound of the thumb on the jazz guitar. And actually, I'm doing mixing, so I do both downstroke, mainly downstrokes, but actually some upstrokes too, and I'm alternating. It's an interesting technique. It's a lot of work, but I love the organic sound of the thumb. Any questions on that? First gig was probably something private, just for the family. But my first official, yeah, I remember it. I was playing with a guy, a drummer. He's very famous in Sweden these days. He became a producer and a singer, and he did that song for, the Swedish artist Robin, the singer. Is she famous here? Yeah, she had a song called Every Heartbeat. With this guy wrote it and produced it, Andreas Oberg. And he was a drummer, and we had this little band we played, and we played at some kind of party in the town or the village where he lived. And I just started school. I started high school, so I was around. In Sweden, you start high school when you're like fifth. Let's see. Yeah, I was probably like 14, 15 years old. I was 15 for sure. So, and unfortunately, I don't think anyone recorded it, but it would be fun to have as a memory. I was pretty good at a young age. I could, when I was 14, 15 years old, I was a pretty good player. But these days, you see some great talents. I was doing a tour on Ireland the last week, or 2 weeks ago, and I got to play with a guy who's 13 years old. He's a gypsy guy from Slovakia and Hungary that moved to Ireland, and he plays fantastic. So check him out. You can find videos online. Andreas Oberg plays with Andreas Varadi, is his name. So amazing to see a 13-year-old play at that level. There has only been a very few players in the history of guitar that have been so talented at that age. Like you might know Birelli Legrand, fantastic guitarist. And also Jimmy Rosenberg, that I had the chance to play with both of them. I learned a lot about their way of playing and improvising, because they just play by ear, because they were never taught at school or something. So the best advice that I can give you when practicing and learning is use the ears. Use your ears. That's the main thing, to be able to hear it and play. But theory might be good to know as well as tools, to be able to explain what you're doing. So don't be afraid of theory. Theory is just a way of giving names to sounds. But the important thing is that you hear the sounds and you can express them. So, but especially when communicating with other musicians, when you're in the studio at the session, it's sometimes good to know some basic theory, to be able to say, are we going to do a C7 here, or a D flat 7, or is it the Dorian feel over this map? There are a lot of terminology that's good to at least be aware of. And especially when teaching, because if someone would ask me, what are you playing there? I can actually explain, well, if I analyze it, it's part of a religion scale with chromatic passing notes. I'm using the sharp 11. It's good when teaching others. If I wouldn't know, I would just say that, this is a lick, this is something I play, I don't know what it is. And then you won't be able to learn it. Okay. So, any other questions? We have 5 minutes left. Go ahead, start. The harmonics? Yeah. You mean when I do like this, like a harp? What I'm doing here, it's like an illusion, because not every note is a harmonic. So let's do it with open strings. Like, it's easier to visualize. What I'm doing is actually, I start with 3 notes, let them ring, 6, 5, 4. Then, I'm playing this note as an harmonic. I put my first finger on top of the 12th fret, crossing over to the 13th fret up here, and I'm hitting the note, pinching it with the thumb. And then I do open G string. So, same thing on the 5th string, open B string, 4th. So you see, but I start with 3 open strings to extend the arpeggio. So that's what I'm doing. Then I can use a chord 12 frets above, like. And then you can do 2 notes at the same time, like one harmonic and one regular, to get that sound. And this is a trick. You can even do. You can even get 1 octave higher up, like. It's pretty cool. Get that sound. So there are many ways of doing it. So, but you understand the basics now? That's cool. There's a lesson, actually a free lesson online on YouTube. If you search for my name and harmonics, you can go and check it out. So there are so many ways of doing harmonics. You can slap and do this, or you can do like that. In another question? We had someone behind you.
Yeah, when you improvise, do you think of the passing notes in relation of the root, with the root, or do you think of them just as passing notes?
It's important to have it. I don't necessarily think about the root, but I think about the direction. Because if I have, let's see if we have a G chord and I'm starting up here, D, I might start on any note. I might start on E flat. Because I know E flat is chromatic and it's out, but it leads. It leads there. And especially if you enclose it with another outside note. You see? But I have a target. In this case, it's the root. Or you can start up here. Or have the 3rd as a target. You can have any scale tone as a target when using these chromatic enclosures. So you have to have a direction and know where to go. And what I'm also doing is, but when I'm just playing chromatic passing notes in part of a line going down, it's important to put the chromatic passing tones on the weak beats. So this is like strong. If I start on the 1, 2, 3, 4, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak. And if I put a chromatic passing note on the strong beat, it will change the sound of the mode. It will sound like I'm using a different scale. But as long as I put them on the weak beats, strong, weak, it doesn't interfere with the sound of the. But if I would start 1 and, so I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and, then this would end up on the strong beat, and we will lose the feel of G major instead of 3, 4. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's a good rule to know. Do you have a final question, or should I play something before we end? Nothing more? Yeah.
Do you have perfect pitch?
I have very good relative pitch. It means that if someone plays on a guitar, I always hear what note and what key. Piano, most of the time I could hear. And if I close my eyes and think E, okay, I can, on a piano, most of the time I'll be correct. But if a car is breaking, I can't tell what note it is. So I don't have perfect pitch, but I have very good relative pitch. I can relate to the sounds that I know and I'm used to hearing. In some way that's better, because if I would have perfect pitch, I would react that everything sounds slightly out of tune, because it does. Especially with these instruments that you have to tune manually. So maybe I'll end with something. Play one, unless we have another question, because we only have a few minutes to go. I'm going to try to do something crazy here that you shouldn't try at home. Okay. Can you give me a little bit more volume on the amp? If it's possible. If someone can do it, we have a sound in here. Just a little bit more. I need just a little bit more volume for this one. Sorry. Okay.
Andreas Oberg, all of you.
Guitar and bass on one guitar. Thank you.
Thank you to Andreas Oberg. I think you arranged carefully the program, and after every set, I mean, starting from the cleaning, is possible a meet and greet with the artist. I'm taking time because in 20 seconds, Andreas will be out there, ready to sign autographs, sell CDs, maybe. Don't forget that it's very important to sell CDs. I don't know, some of the artists, as far as I know, doesn't have CDs because they sold everything out. But I think that it's already time. All of you, please go there and have this meet and greet. We come back in 15 minutes, more or less. I'll see you there.